Good day and welcome to ISSA Canada's webinar, How to Pivot During a Pandemic. In March 2020, the Canadian government took unprecedented steps to shut down the economy in order to protect the health of Canadians and ensure that our healthcare system would be capable of tackling the increasing infection rates. Although cleaning and sanitation were deemed an essential service in most provinces, some provincial governments interpreted this in varying ways. For most commercial cleaners and healthcare housekeepers, it was business as usual, and they were able to carry on their day-to-day tasks with modified cleaning protocols in place. But for residential cleaners, the case was very much different. While some were able to maintain a somewhat reduced workload, others were totally shut down by government officials. How did these residential companies survive these past 8 months? What measures did they have to implement in order to survive? And how will they be prepared to handle another pandemic should one happen in the future? ISSA Canada, a division of ISSA, the Worldwide Cleaning Industry Association, talks to representatives from its Residential Cleaning Committee to see how various provincial governments helped or hindered their businesses and see what steps they took in order to pivot and survive. My name is Tanya Nowotny, and I am the Canadian Director of Marketing and Communications for ISSA Canada. And here with us today is Judith Frag, owner of Clean Club Calgary in Calgary, Alberta, Patrick Martel, co-founder and CEO of Made for Condos in Toronto, Ontario, and Mark Baker, CEO of Motivated Maids Inc. in Paradise, Newfoundland. So, without further ado, let's dig in and learn exactly how these companies were able to pivot during this pandemic. We start our session in the province of Alberta with Judith Virag, owner of Clean Club Calgary. Combining her love for accountability, physical work, and finding solutions, Judith set out to create a cleaning business built on honesty, loyalty, and trust. As a company that offers both residential and commercial cleaning services, Clean Club Calgary has been successfully servicing the Calgary area for the past 10 years. Welcome, Judith, and thank you for joining us today. So, being out in Alberta, how was Clean Club Calgary affected by the provincial shutdowns? Were you guys actually shut down?
No, luckily we did not shut down. We were considered essential workers. So we continued working. We did lose a chunk of our business. 53 regular clients have canceled, and we had to let go quite a few team members and also our office managers. So we took a bit of a hit, I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you didn't close, but you maintained your business. So your cuts came as a result of your customers backing away.
Yes. And everybody got really, really scared.
Yeah.
And what was our saving grace is, when I go to the conference, a lot of people, a lot of my counterparts in the States, they say, pick a niche. And I never picked a niche. My niche is cleaning, I like to say. So whatever that is, residential, commercial, we will do. And what had happened that we had a lot of cancellations on the residential side, but a lot of companies doubled up their cleaning. So they had a weekly cleaning, they want it twice a week. They had a bi-weekly cleaning, they want it once a week. And then also we did work for a company that has 8 buildings in Calgary, and we did a lot of disinfection in there.
So did you have to participate in any kind of special training to help you to keep your business going, like from the commercial side?
I just participated whatever ISSA was offering. And I did take a while back, 2 years ago, I did take the house cleaning technician course as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it really helps you because you get really familiar with all the products and how to use them. And still to this day, I think a big education piece is letting the customers know what's the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. That's ongoing. They have no idea.
Yeah. So what kind of measures have you implemented to help both your staff and your customers feel safe?
So I did a training video right off the bat to my team members. We supplied them with hand soap, hand sanitizer, gloves, masks, and also Lysol spray, just so they can, spray their shoes down. And of course, we have the regular disinfectant that they use for their tools and everything. And then what I actually did that video for my customers, and I put it up on our YouTube channel. And it's basically a Canva presentation and me talking in the bottom.
Okay.
And I released that through our newsletter to our customers, and I had really positive feedback. They would say they are so grateful that we're taking all these measures and they are feeling more comfortable. So that 53 regular clients that I talked about, 28 of them have already rebooked.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then we also got a whole whack of other work. And what was to me evident is, how some people get scared and some people are just like marching on?
Yeah.
It's same with companies.
Mm-hmm.
Some, companies are like people,
Yeah.
actually. And some got scared, and I'm just kind of marching on. So I'm picking up things from other people, from other companies that have actually closed down, picking up clients from there. I'm really active with my advertising. I actually did try TV, and TV is not dead after all. I had very positive feedback. They approached me, and because it's so inexpensive right now, I participated. I did 2 times 5 weeks on TV, on City TV.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and I had really positive feedback. And I said, if I'm gonna do a commercial, I didn't do a slideshow. I did like a regular commercial, and it turned out really good.
Wow. So
Yeah.
in all of this, Judith, did you have any shortages, or did you come up with any obstacles with regards to getting your product?
Obstacles, really, one of them is people, hiring. I hire for values. It's really important that I hire for values because I want to have a team that understands each other and helps each other out. So that has been a bit difficult. But I have my ad on all the time, and we interview all the time. It's kind of constant.
Yeah.
And things happen, like somebody got pregnant, normal, right? Life goes
Yeah,
on, which is
that's
great.
right.
So we had to replace her. So that's what I can see the biggest obstacle. I think it's also a mindset. A lot, as I talked about, people getting scared and people are not getting scared. I do get affected by COVID as well. I kind of feel like I'm on autopilot, and I should be the biggest motivator of my company, right?
Yeah.
So I work really hard on trying to get off that autopilot and just finding new things, finding exciting things. Like this TV was a lot of fun. And, just talking with people, keeping the connection with my customers has been really, really important. And just with the team, just keeping the team going. And I feel responsible.
Yeah.
I feel responsible because I provide employment to them. So therefore, they can put bread on the table. So I
Yeah.
take that very seriously.
Yeah. So, do you find your residential clients are slowly starting to come back?
Yes, and then also a lot more. So
Oh,
I'm getting a lot more new clients. So people are very starting to be very open to the idea to get a professional into their home.
oh yeah. So through all of this pandemic, what have you learned?
What have I learned? I definitely learned that things go on. You know, like for us, a lot of people, everybody's so different, but for us, we never stopped. We just kept on working. And I think it's just what it shows me how resilient my team is. They never wavered, never.
Yeah.
They just kept on going. We just tried to reassure them. We provided. One thing is that obviously our PPA costs have gone up quite a bit because now we're providing all these to them. And also, we're doing disinfecting in the homes, which we're not really charging extra for because we're already there and we're
Yeah.
just going to do those touch points. So I think it changed our business a little bit, and our customers appreciate it that we try to do the very best that we can.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what advice would you provide other residential cleaners?
I would definitely provide the advice to have your membership with ARCSI and stay on top of your trainings, because there's so many good trainings, so many good webinars that are out there, and it's so good to listen to other business owners as to how they do things. And my motto is always, I rather learn from somebody else than to learn on my own skin and fail on my own skin, right?
Yeah.
So definitely, and just to do whatever's best for you, because on a scale of 1 to 5, some people are very, very scared and some people are very comfortable. So do whatever's best for you, and also to respect, even if you're a 5, to respect somebody who's a 1.
Yeah.
That's what I would say, because we all need that kind of kindness right now.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Please welcome our next guest, Patrick Martel, co-founder and CEO of Made for Condos in Toronto, Ontario. It's no secret that the condo market has been steadily on the rise in large urban centers across Canada, and Made for Condos was created to service that growing marketplace. The company specializes in providing top-notch, quality-made services to a host of clients ranging from large property management firms to homeowners and unit managers. A multi-award-winning cleaning company, Made for Condos, is certainly an industry expert when it comes to condo cleaning. Now let's hear about Patrick's experience during this pandemic. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to ask you some questions about your experience and the experience of Made for Condos in Ontario. So cleaning was said to be an essential service in Ontario, but it seems that the interpretation was skewed in some parts. Like some residential cleaning companies actually closed their doors during these past 8 months. What was the experience for Made for Condos?
Yeah, so thank you, Tanya. Thanks for having me. And it was a very challenging time. So you're right, there was interpretations that may have been found different. We read it in the sense that all residential professional services must be shut down unless they are essential. And we read it as personal caregivers was an essential personnel that can go into homes. We essentially read it as we were not essential for residential. So we did, in fact, close down based on government recommendations. So we were closed between, I think, March 17th it was when it was announced, and we reopened in May 19th. So March, April, May. So yeah, about 2 months of closure. And it was a challenging time, but we felt it was important for us to protect not only our staff, but our clients, and let the government and the authorities figure out what in the world was going on, and advise us accordingly. So it was a bit of a challenging time, yes.
So when you reopened in May, what did that look like? Like, was it business as usual, or did you have to implement new protocols? Like, what were the measures that you took to open safely?
Yeah, and that's a great question. So, unlike a lot of people, we unfortunately didn't take a break. So a lot of people took it as an opportunity to regroup, to spend more time with the kids, to do things other than work, and took it as an opportunity for us. Being that we are an organization that are responsible for many people's lives, be it our employees and our clients alike, we took it as a responsibility that we had to work twice as hard. So as soon as we shut down, and even prior to shutting down, it was a very stressful time where we were just finding as much information and digging up and learning as much as we possibly could so that we can inform our staff and inform our clients as best as possible. Through that, you're right, you touched on a couple of things that we did. We enhanced our health and safety protocols as an organization. So we hired external consultants to give us guidance on health and safety, and ensure that we are compliant in all aspects. But furthermore, we introduced an entire module, I think it was a 4 or 5 hour classroom training to all of our staff on enhanced protocols, how to travel around the city, what to do before and after entering a client's home, during the client's home, their rights and responsibilities as being an external person coming into a person's home. So a lot of training, a lot of communication, a lot of learning, and a lot of research.
Okay. With all these people working at home, how does that affect your business?
That is something that's of a challenge for us. So we, again, had communicated to all of our clients the importance of social distancing, especially in the current times, but even in general before. We always used to ask clients to head out for a little bit, to run some errands. But of course, with everything closed right now, it's not like they can go hang out in the coffee shop where they used to go, or the library, or even because we specifically target condos, they used to be able to go in their common areas in their building, be it the gym, the library in the building, or the common offices. And now they're not able to. So our procedures are asking the clients to head out for a bit if they can, hang out on their balcony if they want to ensure that their home is safe and secure. It's their right to do so. And if they absolutely must be inside because people are working from home, our cleaners are trained to open windows, to open in-home ventilation system, and ensure that there's a draft and everybody is to wear masks. But at the end of the day, the most important thing in all this is that we are introducing our staff into these environments. Mm-hmm. And first and foremost, we look at their health and safety, which in turn relates to our clients' health and safety. So health and safety, number one.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. So now with Toronto being in a lockdown, does that, or in a modified stage 2 right now, does that affect your business at all?
So, it's kind of funny. Even when we were fully locked down, we were getting a lot of inquiries for bookings. So we could have been fully operational during the lockdown. Right now, we do see that a lot of our reoccurring regular clients have dropped, but our overall booking and interest from general public is still up.
Good.
And then I'm happy to say as well that I was looking at the numbers this morning, and it looks as though September was our I guess, rock bottom, if you will, for our subscription-based clients. And it looks like we're on an upward trend now. So it has affected us, and it has some people on edge, granted. But nonetheless, we still have inquiries. There's still people moving about. There's still people that are very busy, and they need a professional cleaning service to help them out. So fortunately enough, we are still trucking along and still busy.
That's excellent. So through all this, Patrick, what did you learn from this whole experience, and How is it going to help you moving forward? Should there be a second wave? Should there be another pandemic?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Essentially, as a person, I learned that I have a lot of patience and I'm a hard worker. And so the majority of what I learned has to do with my business and how I operate it. And couples back to the way that I look at our personal side as well. And I think the biggest learning is cash is king, and always have reserve funds for a rainy day. And they kind of people in general say that about personal finances and saving and all that. But as a business, a true responsibility as a business is to have those rainy day funds, is to keep your business cash positive and enable you to go through situations like this. Nobody could ever plan for a situation like this, but you know, whether business is down, bookings are down, or you have other challenges that come up, it's very important to have a strong fiscal, you know, and strong books to be able to support such a thing. So at the end of the day, the biggest learnings for us was communication, learn, search and learn more, and cash is king.
That's excellent. Now, is there any advice that you would like to share with other residential cleaning companies?
Well, I mean, essentially, pivot has been the key word throughout the whole pandemic situation. So pivot can mean a lot of things to a lot of different folks, whether you're a small business, a growing business, a 1 and 2 man, or up to 5 man operation. Pivot is key, and pivot to everybody again can mean something different. But allow yourself the opportunity and the open-mindedness to pivot. So look at the way that you're doing things, look at your systems, look at the way that you're holding your finances, look at your operational efficiencies, look at the way that that your checklists, and look at the different systems and procedures that you use, and give yourself the opportunity to expand, to improve, and to pivot and adapt those systems, procedures, and operations. And there's nothing bad that can come out of that. There's only good. It can be challenging, but do everything that you can to ensure that you're learning and making this into somewhat of a positive experience, being as that you've been forced to pivot and make awesome changes.
That's great. Well, thank you for your time, Patrick.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks,
Okay.
Tanya. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you. And our final guest of the day is located on the east coast of Canada in Paradise, Newfoundland. Mark Baker is the CEO of Motivated Maids, Inc., a residential cleaning company comprised of a national network of professional, reliable, and accountable cleaners. True cleaning professionals, Motivated Maids cleaners not only understand the systematic processes of efficient cleaning, but also understand the science behind it. Mark Baker has a great passion for the cleaning industry, and this passion is quite apparent to all who interact with him. Now, let's hear Mark's journey over these past 8 months. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your experience during this pandemic. So, being out in Newfoundland, how was Motivated Maids affected by the provincial shutdown? And how long were you guys shut down for?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to see your beautiful face and to get an opportunity to present at the ISSA North America show. For us, it was a very immediate response. I mean, it was very early March that kind of the news broke that the pandemic was happening, and immediately our government just shut down everything, and it became to a complete standstill. So for us, we were shut down for a little over 5 months. It was obviously very, very challenging, you know, to have our income completely stopped. I mean, at the beginning, to be honest, we weren't so concerned about it as a business, but we're more concerned like as a human. And I'm almost 50 years old. I mean, word is that older people could get it and get sick and die. I have a toddler, I have a fiance, I have adult children, and I mean, the first reaction was just, I don't want to die. I don't want to get this. So we were okay with the shutdown at first because everything was unknown.
Yeah. So, Mark, obviously this affected your company, but it also affected you personally, clearly.
Well, of course. I mean, again, as I mentioned, I'm 48 years old. I'm blessed to have adult children that are off living their lives in other provinces. But I mean, we have a 3-year-old, Scarlett May Baker. She's the love of my life, the apple of my eye. And I mean, I want to watch her, go to university, walk down the aisle. I want to be able to pass a legacy on to her from what we're building here. And I was seriously concerned about getting sick. And so on a personal level, I mean, that was stressful. But then you add on to it the fact that like we were shut down and the provincial government, I mean, they did a great job of just acting fast. But, they said that there was to be no in-house services for house cleaning unless it was emergency services. But unfortunately, they didn't define what emergency services was. Yeah. So, I mean, legally and ethically, I felt it was definitely not a wise choice to clean. So we shut down. And so, I mean, we had been at the point where we had, in 4 short years, we had gone, a small market area here in St. John's from, a startup with me as the only cleaning pro, with a borrowed ultimate spin mop to just reaching just a little tiny bit shy of 2 million in annualized sales. Wow. We had actually just invested everything we had ever earned into a national rollout across Canada. And we had taken a hit just a month before because we had Snowmageddon, which was when they had 93 centimeters dumped on St. John's in 24 hours. So for our American friends that are watching, 36 inches.
Wow.
Yeah. So the thing is that we had lost, 50,000 in revenue in 1 week because we were shut down. They brought in the military to help dig us out. So all of a sudden it went from, okay, like we're getting places, we funded this national expansion, my life's work, and the government said you have to stop working. So there's a lot going on. So we went from that to zero income, zero.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, the creditors, the people, that you owe money to, your operating expenses, they were great at the beginning, of course. But ultimately, like they're running businesses too, and they need to have income.
That's right.
So it was really stressful. Now, the Canadian government did act reasonably well. They came up with a CERB, they call it, Canadian Emergency Response Benefit. And what they did was, as a self-employed person, myself personally, I was able to click a few buttons and they issued me $2,000 a month. So we went from living, a middle-class lifestyle with all of the bills that come with that to $2,000 a month. So every single day, what we had coming in was less than what was going out.
Yeah.
So on a personal level, how does it affect you? Well, who wants to bring that home to your partner? I don't want to bring home the stress to our partner, not just that, we're closed down, we have no income, but that our business is legitimately at risk because we had taken all of our retained earnings and put it into a national expansion. And it was a big risk, a big gamble for us.
So what did you do with your downtime?
Well, it was stressful, as I mentioned. I'll be honest. I don't want to lie here and put on a front. It was very, very stressful. But I'm an entrepreneur, and as an entrepreneur, for me, I have always considered what the worst possible outcome would be with this business if things went wrong, and would I be able to happily live with the outcome, and would I be able to pick myself up? So because of that, I knew no matter what happened, I was going to get up, put one foot in front of the other, and I was going to keep moving forward regardless of what happened. So I said, okay, well, this is an opportunity. And I literally looked at it as an opportunity. The first little bit, truthfully, I was on the phone calling Alonzo Adams, who, as you know, is I think the chair of the American Residential Cleaners Council with ARCC, and some other people, and just, talking to them about what ISSA was doing as far as getting COVID-19 training out to, us. Yeah. And we were amazing. They put together the microbial warrior program through GBAC, which was huge because we felt confident when the time came to go back in the houses we could safely, Yeah. But so once I got through that, which was the first couple of weeks, then the main focus then after that became, okay, what if this business was just starting from scratch? what if I was just starting Motivated Maids like I did 5 years ago? Except for 5 years ago, I was coming off welfare. I had no license, no car, no insurance, no money, starting in debt, and had to build that up tooth and scratching tooth and nail to a 7-figure company. I have 5 years of exceptional experience and knowledge behind me. We have a profitable business. Yes, we have expenses and we have no revenue coming in, but like, what if we were starting from scratch? What would I change? And that was a big thing for me. What would I change? And that's what helped us pivot. So I thought, okay, think about it. Everyone says you got to work on your business and not in your business, right? But the reality is it takes time to get there.
That's right.
As owners, as we're slowly removing ourselves from our business, from the day-to-day operations, it allows us to kind of focus on the big picture and make strategic moves, business model changes. But when you're going through the day-to-day and the wheels are turning, you get so caught up in all that, right?
Yeah.
Well, when that stops, you can then focus on those things. So, for example, I took courses. I mean, there's so many free courses out there. I had courses on SEO. I joined up in Angela Brown's Savvy Cleaning Network program because, hey, she's amazing. And there was so much knowledge I always wanted to learn about cleaning that I could get. I started reaching out to other professionals through ISSA, just to see how they were doing. I rewrote our business model completely. We wrote a brand new business plan. And then when we reopened, I mean, we were a new company.
Yeah.
And to be quite frank, we are a 1 million times better company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't mind telling you, I mean, we're down 70%.
Yeah.
Right? So I went over my business with a fine-tooth comb. And I realized that we were squandering thousands of dollars every month. That things we just didn't need. I was able to find financial efficiencies that would allow our company to one, pay more to our providers in the field because we found savings, and we could pass it on to the people on the front lines doing the work.
That's right.
Because we know each other personally. That means everything to me, right? Right?
Right.
Yeah. So, because hey, I'm a cleaner, right? So, two, we were able to actually improve our customer service by finding like service as a software. Being able to finally find the right service as a software companies that can provide us with everything from customer support. We're able to find expert support agents that were college educated, English speaking, that worked overseas at a fraction of a cost. We were able to become a company that could do what we were doing before better for 20% less.
Yeah.
And I never would have done that if I wasn't forced to. Because when the money's coming in, and every week, you're billing out $30,000 or $40,000 in residential cleaning.
Yeah.
Hey man, what's $100? It's coffee money.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, when you have no income, it's not coffee money anymore, is it? So the learning that I was able to get through this, and I know I'm going into 2021 a much better CEO. And I understand now a couple of things. And one is cash is king. Now all of a sudden the pandemic hit and our revenue was at zero and we weren't sitting on cash reserves and our bills still had to be paid and my family still needed to eat. It wasn't good.
No.
Right? So here's what you learn. You come out, you survive, and you say, okay, there will be a rainy day. So now, strategically, as we roll things out and our national expansion is relaunched and we're building, cleaning professionals all over Canada, it's way more strategic.
Yeah.
Because we look at our cash flow so differently. We look at our expenses so differently. We look at our spend so differently. Our expectations from our vendors. We look at things so differently now that when we get kind of, say, back to that 2 million, which, we should hit in the first quarter, 2021, provided that, Canada still does well with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that cash flow is coming back to normal. Now it's like, well, that doesn't mean we're going to spend like normal.
Yeah.
We're going to be aggressive,
Yeah.
but we're not going to be full-heartedly aggressive. We want to listen.
Wow.
And that's the big thing. Cash is king. You got to watch your money, and remember, there is a rainy day, and this is just one. There could be another one behind it.
Would you say that is the biggest thing that you learned through this whole experience then?
Sure, Tanya, but you know what? You know what I learned? I learned that I'm strong, and I learned that it's okay to be vulnerable. Look, I'm a business person. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
People want to deal with winners. You don't show your vulnerability. You got to be strong. I'm the rock for my family. I'm the rock for all the people that work in this network. Hundreds of people that work with Motivated Maids and all depend on Mark Baker to show up every day, right? But I'll be honest with you, Tanya, I was scared. I don't mind telling you. I was scared, and I reached out to people. I'm like you with the ISSA. I called you up, and we became friends. It's like, hey, Tanya, I'm worried.
Yeah.
And I called Alonzo, and I had long conversations, and that vulnerability that I showed was the biggest thing I learned, because when you are vulnerable and you stop trying to compete with everyone else in the industry, you realize that the high tide raises all the ships, and we're all in this together. And Tanya, look, I want to leave a couple parting thoughts. And one is that I was raised to never have pity for yourself. Never. Pity is a sin. And I was always reminded anytime I felt sorry for myself as a child, growing up, as a young adult, by my beloved father, that of the people who weren't as lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't as lucky, right? And not just locally in Canada, because he would say he could point out the poorest person in Canada and say that person is in the top 1% of the richest people on earth.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about people going through in other countries and stuff, right? And as I was suffering through this, right, I knew I was hurting because of what was going on. Hey, look, I'm doing it. I got a business that's making $1.87 million a year in a small town. Hey, I've made it. I've done it. I came off welfare. I started the cleaning company. I've made it. I'm a success story, right? And then all of a sudden one day it's like, by the way, you're getting no money for 5.5 months. And when you do start back up, you're getting practically nothing. It's going to take you 18 months to rebuild.
Yeah.
So the thing was that I wouldn't allow myself to feel sorry for myself. And the reason I wouldn't was because I always remember my dad's words about how, there's people that got it worse. And then I thought, like, up in Montreal, we had 3 people passed away in all of Newfoundland from this. We had one outbreak. We're on an island. We just didn't let anyone else in. So where you are in Ontario, hey, it's not the same as where it is for me.
Yeah.
You have loved ones that you're legitimately worried about. So I thought, hey, people have lost their grandparents, they've lost their poppies, they've lost their children, they've lost their husbands and wives. Those people, they're the ones who are going through hardship. I'm not going through hardship.
Yeah. So
my business might have to shut down. I might have to get a regular job. I might have to start over. Well, sure, I'm an entrepreneur. Starting over is what it's all about.
That's right.
Plus, we're in Canada, which means, Canada's a great country. We have a good social safety net, as you know. But here's the message. The message is, when I reached out to a few people and got vulnerable in our industry through ISSA that I met at the conferences, at the North American shows, and let me tell you something, if you've not attended a North American show, it is by far the best spend I've ever made, and it has paid for itself 100-fold in every way.
Nice.
But when I reached out and showed that vulnerability, they were like, "Are you okay, Mark?" It's like, I'm talking to Alonzo. It's like, "No, man, I'm not. I'm worried."
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm worried for my fiance. I'm worried for my child. I'm worried for everybody. I don't know what the future's going to look like. But I said, I can't feel sorry for myself because people have it worse. And, and him and other people said, well, you can for a little bit. It's okay. And they kind of gave me permission to feel down.
Yeah.
And that was a release for me. And then I was able to say, okay, you know what? Just dust myself off, pick myself back up, and just put one foot in front of the other. And listen, I got down. there was, and that's what's wonderful about this industry. And we showed our true colors.
Wow.
Because we're fierce competitors, but you know what? We're also allies.
That's right.
And we came together during this pandemic for each other.
That's right.
And this entire industry, well, hey, let's face it, like, we don't have to justify our value anymore to the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
We always knew we were in the healthcare business, cleaning homes. We always knew the correlation between one's health and a cleanly space, right?
Yeah.
Well, now everyone else in the world does too.
Here you go. And on that note, thank you so much for your time.
But thank you.
On behalf of ISSA Canada and its Residential Cleaning Committee, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. We hope you found our session informative and helpful, and hopefully you were able to take away some key information that is both meaningful to you and your business. We will now go live with our guests who are more than willing to answer any further questions you may have.